career. One true voice, Take That or Boyzone?
The answer is Boyzone. Just because I remember when I was younger that they were one of the big boy bands, so...
Were you a big fan?
I was more actually a Take That fan,
Oh,
but no, Boyzone, we're all right.
OK, Boyzone, Ronan Keating, yes, of course it is. That's the right answer. OK, Chris, which singer was born Harry Roger Webb in India in 1940? Cliff Richard, Roger Daltrey or David Gilmour?
Now, he grew up in Goffs Oak, Hertfordshire. And in the summer of 1957, when they were both 17, the aunt of an ex-girlfriend of mine was taken to the Embassy Cinema, Waltham Cross, to see The King and I by Cliff Richard. Harry Webb to you.
The aunt of an ex-girlfriend of yours, so yeah. You're at 2 removes from greatness. Chris, thank you very much for that. Cliff Richard is the right answer, Harry Roger Webb. There we are, 1 each. You see what I've got to put up with day in, day out, clapping across this? Oh, it's information flying around the studio. OK, Amy, second question. What is the first name of the title character in the animated series King of the Hill? Is it Harold, Hank or Howard?
I don't know this one, so I'm going to have to guess with Harold.
OK, Harold.
Yes.
You haven't seen it, then?
I haven't.
King of the Hill?
Sadly.
It's not Harold, it's Hank. King of the Hill, title character is Hank. So 1 wrong there, but quite a way to go. Chris, your second question. Everything's Coming Up Roses and You've Got to Get a Gimmick are songs from which Stephen Sondheim musical? Into the Woods, Pacific Overtures or Gypsy?
Yeah, that's Gypsy, Dermot.
Everything's Coming Up Roses, You've Got to Get a Gimmick are songs from Gypsy. It's the right answer, which means, Amy, you've got to get this, your third question, correct. In which 1987 film does R. Lee Ermey play Gunnery Sergeant Hartman? Platoon, Full Metal Jacket or Hamburger Hill?
I have a feeling, for some reason, that Full Metal Jacket was later than 87. Could be totally wrong, but I'm going to go for Platoon.
Platoon.
Yeah.
Well, they all concern the Vietnam War. But Gunnery Sergeant Hartman is in Full Metal Jacket. It wasn't later, it was from 1987. Full Metal Jacket, so nothing there. And Chris has already got 2 right. So it means the head-to-head ends at this point, Amy. I'm afraid you won't be playing in the final round. Chris, you'll be there. Would you both please come back and join your teams? OK, well, as it stands, Amy's going to be missing from the final round. The Eggheads are all still there, but we've only played 1 round. Our next subject, another chance to put an Egghead out, is science. Who'd like to play this? Science.
Charlie? Oh, Charlie. OK, I'll go for it.
OK, Charlie, who would you like to play from the Eggheads? It can't be Chris, any one of the other 4, though.
I don't know, really.
Judith?
Yeah.
Shall I go with Judith?
Yeah. OK. Judith, please.
OK, let's have Charlie and Judith into the question room then, please. So, Charlie, what position do you play in the lacrosse team?
Anywhere really around the centre, lots of running up and down, so mostly attack positions around the centre circle.
And Judith, you used to play, didn't you, lacrosse?
Yes, I used to play on the wing.
Oh, I see.
But I can't remember any more about it, really.
Were you any good?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Oh, were you?
Well, I was in the school team.
Oh, were you?
But I must say, I didn't really like it, because it was always terribly cold, always the winter, terribly cold, agony being hit on the hands and things like that.
So were you always bunking off then, Judith?
When I could.
Oh, a dark side. And what happened when you bunked off then, Judith? What did you do?
Well, usually rounded up and made to go again.
Ah, it wasn't round the back of the bike sheds doing...
No, always found.
Having the odd woodbine or 2. OK, let's play the head-to-head then. Charlie, would you like to go first or second?
I'll go first, please.
Good luck, Charlie. It's science. Which creatures make up the largest class in the animal kingdom with more than 1 million species? Reptiles, mammals or insects?
I think I know the answer, hopefully. Insects.
OK, insects, more than 1 million species of insects. Yes, David Attenborough was telling us all about it not so long ago. It's the right answer. Insects is correct, so good start, Charlie. Judith, in which year did John Glenn become the first US astronaut to orbit the Earth? 1956, 1962, or 1968?
I think that was 1962.
John Glenn became the first US astronaut to orbit the Earth in 1962. It is correct. Specifying US astronaut there, Eggheads, because presumably the Russians did it first?
Yuri Gagarin. Yeah.
Okay. Back to you, Charlie. Second question. Which part of the human body is affected by the condition glossitis? Is it the scalp, the toenails, or the tongue? Glossitis. Glossitis.
I don't think it's toenails. I think I'll go with tongue.
Okay. Tongue. Wild guess, is it, Charlie?
A little bit.
Little wild. Wildish. It's the right answer. Glossitis. Any of you eggheads tell me what exactly it is? What does it do to the tongue?
Well, inflammation.
Itis is inflammation. The suffix itis means inflammation, so...
So I suppose it's what happens if you get clonked on the head with a lacrosse stick and bite your tongue. Glossitis. OK, Judith. Which small antelope native to Africa is believed to be named for the noise it makes when distressed? Is it the dick-dick, the dock-dock, or the duck-duck?
Well, I know there's a tiny, weeny, little, delicate antelope called a dick-dick.
Is that your answer?
So that's my answer.
And named because it makes that noise when distressed. It's the right answer. Well done, Judith. Dick-dick. OK, back to you, Charlie. Third question. If you get this right, you could be going through. Spraint is the technical term for the droppings of which creature? Otter, squirrel, or hare? And that is spelled S-P-R-A-I-N-T, spraint. Technical term for the droppings of which creature?
Being a city girl, I don't really come across very many of these very often. Well, I don't think so. I'm going to go with hare, I think.
OK, spraint. Is it the droppings of a hare? There's quite a few squirrels in town, aren't there?
There are,
Loads
yeah,
of those.
that's what I was thinking.
But it's neither of those, it's the otter.
Oh.
It's the otter, spraint. So a chance for Judith to win. Judith, who won a Nobel Prize for Physics in 1918 for his pioneering work in quantum theory? Max Planck, Ernest Rutherford, or Erwin Schrödinger?
Well, Rutherford was atomic bombs, wasn't he? To do with atomic bombs. I don't know who Schrödinger is, so Max Planck. Hope for the best.
Max Planck, quantum theory. Well, you know your quantum physics. It's the right answer, Judith. You're going through to the final round. Max Planck won the Nobel Prize for Physics in 1918. Bad luck, Charlie. Just squeezed out there with the otter question. Would you both please come back and join your teams? Well, Charlie, I was very impressed there that Judith knew her quantum physics. It turned out you would have known that as well.
I did know that answer, yeah.
You've done a bit of swatting up, had you?
Well, I did physics A-level, so that'll be it.
But Judith, as it turns out, knew spraint, didn't you? You knew about the otters.
Yes, I did know about the otters, so if it had been the other way round,
Yeah.
well, we'd have been in sudden death.
Yes, we would have been. Anyway, as it turned out, Judith won the round, so Charlie and Amy will be missing from the final round. 2 brains missing from the final round. The Eggheads are all still there. But we've got 2 more head-to-heads to play and a chance, therefore, to knock 2 more Eggheads out. And this subject now is geography. Who wants to play geography? Millie, Emma, or Sophie? Geography.
All right, fine, I'll do it then. I think it'll be Sophie.
OK, Sophie, and who would you like to play from the Eggheads? Those 3 in the middle, Daphne, CJ, or Kevin?
Who do you think? I give maybe CJ.
Yeah, go with CJ.
CJ, please.
OK, yes, of course you can. OK, let's have Sophie and CJ into the question room then, please. So, Sophie, all this chat about lacrosse, I'm getting interested in it. Do blokes play it? Or, I mean, it always seems to be associated with women.
Absolutely, men play as well, but they do have a lot more padding than we do. They play a contact sport.
I see. Well, they wear helmets and the rest.
They've got helmets, chest pads, shoulder pads, and massive gloves.
Call themselves men. And how long does a game last? Is it 2 halves or 4 quarters?
Quite often you can choose between 2 halves of maybe 20 minutes or even half an hour, or you can do quarters. It depends how you're feeling on the day.
and what the other team says.
I see, that sounds a good idea to me. So what, if it's Saturday morning, all been down the pub or the wine bar the night before, 2 10-minute halves, say, what do you say?
I don't think it's ever come down to that.
And back off for a refresher after. I might come and watch a game. So where do you play?
Our home ground's in Earlsfield, but then we only play there 4 or 5 times a year, and then we travel around to other home grounds.
All right. Fancy it, Chris?
Earlsfield, yeah, I know where that is. Yeah, I don't mind standing on the touchline for half hour, freezing me bits off, just to watch the ladies play the Gataway.
OK, let's play the head-to-head then. Sophie, would you like to go first or second?
I'd like to go first, please.
Off we go then, Sophie. First question to you. Inishmon is the local name for which island in the UK? Is it Anglesey, the Isle of Wight, or the Isle of Man?
Gosh, that doesn't even sound like English.
It's spelt 2 words, Y-N-Y-S-M-O-N.
I am going to take the Isle of Man, simply because Mon sounds a bit like man.
Ah, OK. But it's not the right answer, I'm afraid, Sophie. It's Anglesey, which, of course, is an island as well, very close to the mainland, but Inishmon is Anglesey. So, which you would have known, CJ, being a native of Wales?
Yeah, the original name for Anglesey is Mona.
Ah, so there's the link there with Mon. OK, your question then, CJ. Which present-day country stands on the site of the ancient area known as Anatolia? Turkey, Tunisia, or Thailand?
That is Turkey.
That is correct, CJ, Turkey. OK, well, let's get you off the marks, Sophie. The series of connected boulevards known as the Ramblas are a feature of which European city? Lisbon, Barcelona, or Bern?
I think it would be Barcelona.
Thought you were struggling there, Sophie. Have you ever been to Barcelona?
No, I haven't.
Got to go. Yeah, the Ramblas are there. It's the right answer. Well done. OK, CJ, Yerevan is the capital of which country? Moldova, Armenia, or Georgia?
I can't actually remember the capital of Moldova. Georgia is Tbilisi, but Yerevan is Armenia.
You eggheads learn your capitals, don't you?
Apart from Moldova, apparently.
Yeah, well, you've just forgotten that one, clearly. Hope that comes up in a future round. You'll have learnt it by then, though, of course. Yerevan is the capital of Armenia. It is correct. OK, means you've got to get this then, Sophie, and hope CJ gets his next one wrong. Concentrate on this. The Aral Sea straddles the border between Uzbekistan and which other country? Russia, Turkmenistan, or Kazakhstan?
I think it might be Kazakhstan.
OK. As soon as we moved out of the British Isles with the questions for you, you've gone into storming form. It's the right answer, Kazakhstan. The Aral Sea straddles the border between Uzbekistan and Kazakhstan. OK, well, that's one half of what you had to do. That was in your control. Now you've just got to hope CJ gets this wrong and we'll go to sudden death. CJ, which volcano on the island of Luzon in the Philippines erupted in 1991, producing the second largest terrestrial eruption of the 20th century? Pinatubo, Dona Juana, or Hingol?
Well, there's only one of those I've heard of, so I'm going to go for Pinatubo.
Pinatubo is the right answer, CJ. You're just into the final round. You got going, Sophie, too late there. Slipped up on the first one, playing catch-up then for the rest of the round, and unfortunately for you, CJ didn't slip up. It means you won't be in the final round. Would you both please come back and join your teams?
Dermot.
Everything's coming up roses. You've got to get a gimmick. Our song's from Gypsy. It's the right answer, which means, Amy, you've got to get this, your third question, correct. In which 1987 film does R. Lee Ermey play Gunnery Sergeant Hartman? Platoon, Full Metal Jacket, or Hamburger Hill?
I have a feeling, for some reason, that Full Metal Jacket was later than 87. Could be totally wrong, but I'm going to go for Platoon.
Platoon.
Harold.
OK, Harold.
Yes.
You haven't seen it, then?
I haven't.
King of the Hill?
Sadly.
It's not Harold. It's Hank. King of the Hill, title character, is Hank. So one wrong there. but quite a way to go. Chris, your second question. Everything's coming up roses, and you got to get a gimmick. Are songs from which Stephen Sondheim musical? Into the Woods, Pacific Overtures, or Gypsy?
Yeah, that's Gypsy.
Career. One true voice, Take That, or Boyzone?
The answer is Boyzone. Just because I remember when I was younger that they were one of the big boy bands, so...
Were you a big fan?
I was more actually a Take That fan,
Oh, I
but
see.
no, Boyzone, we're all right.
OK, Boyzone, Ronan Keating, yes, of course it is. That's the right answer. OK, Chris, which singer was born Harry Roger Webb in India in 1940? Cliff Richard, Roger Daltrey, or David Gilmour?
Now, he grew up in Goffs Oak, Hertfordshire. And in the summer of 1957, when they were both 17, the aunt of an ex-girlfriend of mine was taken to the Embassy Cinema, Waltham Cross, to see The King and I by Cliff Richard. Harry Webb to you.
The aunt of an ex-girlfriend of yours, so
Yeah.
you're at 2 removes from greatness. Chris, thank you very much for that. Cliff Richard is the right answer, Harry Roger Webb. There we are, 1 each. You see what I've got to put up with day in, day out, clapping across this? Oh, it's information flying around the studio. OK, Amy, second question. What is the first name of the title character in the animated series King of the Hill? Is it Harold, Hank, or Howard?
I don't know this one, so I'm going to have to guess with